Cool. So this is the NWC show, episode 8, I think it is, or 9. And if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Not America's Sweetheart, Davienne.
So, obviously, I would like to thank you for taking the time to come on to the show. I know it's quite early in the morning for where you are. It's like 8 a.m, I think it is.
Yeah, it's okay. That's usually when I get up and get ready for work. So,
So we'll just kick it off with the first kind of question that we normally ask is, what got you into wrestling? So what's that moment in wrestling that made you go, this is something that I want to watch, I want to do?
So my brother was a really big wrestling fan, and we were super close. So just kind of one day, I think he was just watching Sunday Night Heat, on TV, and I walked by and I saw Randy Orton, and I was hooked. I was like, I'll sit down and watch this. This is great. And then I just remember specifically moments like the first WrestleMania I watched was WrestleMania 21 with him and the Undertaker. So I specifically remember those moments leading up, and then the Batista turn on Triple H, ending Evolution. Those were the moments I was just the biggest fan and was yeah, I want to wrestle.
So that whole kind of ruthless aggression towards the end of that era just kind of got you hooked to wrestling, yeah?
Yeah. At that point, it was just all the things that I could watch, we were watching.
I think as well, especially at that time, compared to now, women's wrestling. So I've got a daughter and she loves the women's wrestling now because it's kind of empowerment, and there's some matches are better than even the men's ones. But back then, it was so brand panty matches, and I'm sure you remember, it wasn't the easiest thing for a girl to get into back then.
Yeah, no, my mom was really strict. Especially it was me, my brother, and my little neighbor who's also a boy. Mm-hmm. So she would see the girls on TV and be like, absolutely not, you're not watching this. I remember we bought Taboo Tuesday on VHS. And we were at my neighbor's house, and he goes, Mom, can we watch the lingerie pillow fight? And she's like, no, you can't even pronounce the word right, so you're not watching it. We weren't allowed to watch entrances, because one of the girls had a risque entrance video in a video game. We weren't allowed to watch promos because one time they swore. So it was really strict. So I was strictly just watching matches. That was all. That was it. But I really like Trish Stratus and Lita, because they actually got to have matches and have storylines and stuff. So I got to watch their stuff, but pretty much everything else was we were walking on thin ice when it came to the girls.
No, 100%, because I remember being so I got into wrestling the 99, 98, that kind of end of the Attitude Era WCW kind of time, and I just remember my mum being you can't watch the women wrestling and stuff like that, because obviously it was a lot of risky stuff. So
Yeah.
I always remember thinking why was I not allowed to watch this? And then now that I'm older, I'm oh right, I get it now, don't worry about it. Yeah. So obviously you are in the business, so you're a wrestler. Tell us a little bit about that. Kind of what got you started in that journey of, okay, I want to get into the business and start wrestling, and being one of those people that you looked up to on TV?
So I pretty much decided when I was 11 or 12, I was going to be a wrestler. I never had dreamed of a conventional career, I guess. At one point I wanted to be a doctor, but that was pretty much it. And then I was this is gross. I don't want to do it. And I was 6. So then I really was into baseball, and I wanted to be a professional baseball player, but there is really no professional baseball league for females. And then I fell in love with wrestling. So I was I'm going to be a wrestler. And that was it. Once I was 12 years old and I was set, and I'm a very stubborn person. So all throughout high school, like, I didn't, I mean, like, I was good at school, but I didn't, like, try hard. I got straight A's in, like, all, like, the regular classes, but my school offered, like, honors classes and, like, AP classes, and I was like, nah, I'm all set. Like, I don't want to put in more time to school. Like, this is stupid. Like, we would have to have, like, mandatory meetings with your guidance counselor in your junior, senior year, like, do college applications and stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm not going to college. Like, I'm going to be a wrestler. Like, I had already had the school picked out, where I was going to train. And I would get in, like, legitimate fights with my teachers. And they were like, why won't you do this? Like, why won't you try it? And I was like, because I already know what I'm going to do. And then literally, like, I was working at a gym when I graduated high school. And my guidance counselor signed up at the gym. And she was like, oh, like, how are you doing? Like, this is what you're doing. And I was like, I like, work full time in a gym, and, like, I'm training to be a wrestler. And then one time I came in with a black eye. And so, I mean, I'm pretty sure she thought I was, like, a failure at life, but whatever. But so, yeah, I was, like, dead set. And there was actually, Ken Doan or Kenny Dykstra went to high school with my sister. So they, like, wrote an article in the newspaper about him in my town, about, like, when he, was in the WWE, and it said he trained at the Killer Kowalski School. And I was like, all right, well, if he went there, I'm gonna go there. And then Killer Kowalski School became the Chaotic Training Center, and then it became the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. And so 3 days after I turned 18, I walked in with full year's tuition and was like, here you go. Okay.
Yeah, I was quite similar. So I done some wrestling training here in Scotland until I was about 18, 19. I had, like, a match or two, like, nothing like 3 or 4. It was nothing special.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up breaking my neck, so I wasn't able to continue. It was totally my fault. If whoever's listened to this podcast has heard this story like 50 times, but I was climbing out the ring, and I slipped off the apron, and I landed on my neck weird, and it just broke my neck. It was one of those, like, because I'm so silly, like, I'm so, like, if you put me on, if it's icy outside and I go outside, I'm going to fall. I'm one of those people who just fall anywhere you go.
Oh my God.
And that was, like, my worst one. So then I kind of fell out of love for wrestling after that a little bit, because I was like, I can't do it. So what's the point in me, like, continue watching it and stuff like that? But when I was at school, I was 100%. That was it. That's the only thing I was doing was being a professional wrestler. I was going to be in the business somehow. And like you, I didn't want to have, like, a normal job. Like, the fact of, like, having, like, a normal, like, go to, like, a 9 to 5 position just makes me feel sick. Like, I'm self-employed now, so I don't even have, like, have my own business and stuff. I don't do the normal hours, so I hate that feeling. Like, my fiancée, she goes out to work and stuff like that, and I just hate that. I'm like, how can you enjoy going to, like, a job and somebody tells you what to do and stuff? And it just makes me, I tried it for a little bit. I was like 4 or 5 years when I was a bit younger, but I was like, nah, I can't do it. I need to leave. I need to go do my own business, because I'm not getting any younger. And then obviously I went and done it. And the good thing is, because of COVID and stuff like that, I got to set this channel up, and now I get to talk to wrestlers and talk about wrestling, which is pretty cool, because I feel like I'm back doing wrestling a little bit.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've luckily, knock on wood, never been injured, like, severely. But I've always been trying to figure out, like, what would my outlet be, like, when I can't be an athlete anymore. Like, because I would still want to be involved in wrestling, because it's just like is, like, in you if you're involved in wrestling.
100%. When you catch that bug for it, it's just there. Like, you can't get rid of it. The going to the gyms, the training, the traveling, the going to, like, the terrible, like, shows when it's got, like, 2 or 3 people in it. You just, when you've done it for a while, it just gets in you, and you just can't shake that bug for no matter what it is. And I think that's how I just kind of took a huff with wrestling completely. I just went, like, I'm not watching anything from it.
Yeah,
I had to break it. I had to kind of break that cycle of, that's all I'd done every day for, like, 4 years, 5 years. So one of the other big questions I've got is, what do you love about today's, like, what do you love about the the industry today? Do you love, like, there's a lot more focus on women wrestling? Do you love the how much wrestling there is out there? What do you love about it?
Yeah, I would say, like, I love that there's something for everybody. Like, there's just so much wrestling out there in the world. Like, if you don't like WWE, you could find something else that you like. You could watch Japanese wrestling. You could watch, like, comedy wrestling. Like, there's just something for absolutely everybody to find entertaining.
100%. That's it. You can watch a different wrestling show every single night, and you still wouldn't have your whole day. Like, you could watch a different show every day of the year, and it would just be insanely different across the board. It's something that I love about wrestling as well, is there's something for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little overwhelming with how much is out there, but there's definitely something for everybody.
100%. And what's something that you dislike about the business? Is it how maybe kayfabe isn't in it anymore, or the negative side to it? What's something that you dislike about it?
I guess, like, I really, like, don't care for, like, social media. Like, it has its positives, but sometimes it can just be so negative, and I'm just like, ugh, like, why are we doing this? Like, why is Twitter just a cesspool of negativity? If I could eliminate that, it'd be great.
100%. There is a lot of negativity for everything. Like, anything that happens in the world, somebody's got something to moan about, and Twitter just seems, if it gives people that just want to complain, obviously the best platform to do it.
Yeah, honestly, like, if I could eliminate social media as a whole, like, not even just wrestling, I would really love that. Because it's so negative, and I hate it.
I try and keep everything positive. So for, like, my channel, even if I don't like everything that happens in wrestling, if I'm reviewing a show or something, I'm not going to like every single thing, but I try and keep it as positive as possible, because there's no point in sitting walking around being negative. And the way I look at it is, what about if somebody's put their life's work in and they watch your review and it's like, this guy's just slated my whole career.
Yeah.
So I just try and keep it as positive as possible, because I would hate to, like, have somebody check out my channel and be like, oh, this guy just hates me for no reason.
Right.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you see yourself still being in wrestling? Do you see yourself maybe, like, in WWE, AEW more, or where do you see yourself?
In 10 years, I would actually like to not be wrestling anymore in 10 years. That would bring me to 36. So ideally, I would maybe be a trainer, have a school, be producing maybe with WWE or AEW. But I do want to have kids, so I want to say by, like, 35, actively wrestling, I will be done. But I mean, who the hell knows? I don't predict the future. But I would like to be making a living on something in wrestling that's just, like, not in the ring. Because of COVID, I've learned that I really, really like helping training, and I really, really like helping with production and stuff, and, like, booking. So ideally I could have a role in one of those things.
No, 100%. I think because of COVID and, like, the shutdown stuff, people have to stay inside and stuff like that. It's just taught people, like, well, if there's any time to go after something, or what career you're in, you might enjoy something a little bit better, like a different side of it, different aspects. It's just brought them to, like, the forefront, and a lot of people are just starting to do their kind of what they want to do, like, kind of follow their passions a little bit more, instead of from being kind of stuck in, like you're saying, you're going to want to wrestle till you're about 35 actively because you want kids and stuff like that, but then you've got another avenue with, like, production or training stuff, like, just kind of different avenues that you can go into, which is really good to look at for the future. And especially with COVID, because you never know if this is when it's going to end. Hopefully it
Right.
ends soon and we don't need to go back inside again.
Right.
because I think COVID's just killed a lot of small wrestling companies, and then wrestlers are just getting at the point when it's like, I want to get back out in the road, or I want to do some training or something instead of from being sitting around all day.
Yeah. I know there are a lot of people who like still I felt like I stayed pretty active throughout the whole thing because I was lucky enough to, have a school that was able to follow the protocols and stay safe, and work with, a couple companies that are following protocols and staying safe and stuff. But like, I couldn't even imagine if I was just like off for the whole year. Like, that would be crazy.
Yeah, 100%. I think as well, the different countries having different methods of like how they're dealing with it, and like, so for here in Scotland, it's kind of like we've had 3 lockdowns, so shut everything down and then it opens back up, then shuts it down again. And the one that we're in just now ends on Monday. So it's
Oh, wow.
you're just sitting at, like, we've been inside since pretty much it's a year since we're able to really go do anything different, which is so annoying for any, like, for me especially. I'm a person who likes to go for runs, goes out all the time.
Right.
And then I'm just inside. I can't even really go to business meetings. Everything's done via like Skype or phone calls. I feel like I'm in like an episode of Black Mirror sometimes. And one of the best questions I like to ask is, if you could pick any time in history, in wrestling history, where would you go to either participate as a wrestler? Who would you like to wrestle against? Or, like, for instance, if you were going to go wrestle, who would you like to wrestle against at what event? If you wanted to go see an event, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I feel like the peak of like the women's evolution, and I would really love to like wrestle Sasha Banks or Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely. My daughter loves that match, the triple threat one that was at WrestleMania a few years ago.
Yep.
She just watches it like religiously, which is she's only like 5'4". I can't.
No.
Try to remember her age is hard when you get to when you get after a certain age. You're just like,
Yeah.
Julie? But she watches it religiously. I think she likes like the colours and the fact that it's not just like jacked men on wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, it would probably be to go back and wrestle like Bret Hart or like SummerSlam or something like that. Like, just something, just like pure amazing to do. But if a wrestling mindset, it would have to be against like John Cena at WrestleMania or something to make the most amount of money and have a somewhat easier night than going against Bret Hart.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your favourite event of all time? So, like, an event that you would sit down or get a non-wrestling fan to watch. What's your favourite event of all time?
I really, really like Survivor Series. There's something about like the lead up with like the brand competition that I just really enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. I think Survivor Series is one of the best, like, one of the best pay-per-views. Can you get that word out there? It's one of the things that got me into it as well. Like, I remember like Survivor Series 99, I think it was, which is like, if you asked me the card, unless I looked it up, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid just thinking, all these guys come together and act as a team. This is going to be cool. And then, like, with 2000, 2001, 2, just continued. It's just one of my favourite kind of episodes. The big 4 pay-per-views. It's probably one of my favourite ones to check out every year.
Yeah, I just feel like the dynamic of it is like so different from everything else. Like, you just kind of put aside like all the storylines and it's just like blue versus red or versus black and gold now. I don't know. There's just some kind of weird appeal to it.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's different. Like, you don't really see it as much anymore.
Yeah.
Given that tag team wrestling's trying to make a comeback a little bit now, so I'm guessing we'll probably see that a little bit more. But it's just the fact that you never know who's going to team up at Survivor Series. It's like, who's going to be the teams, like SmackDown versus Raw or whatever it is, who's going to do it. I think it's just adds that new dynamic to it as well.
Definitely.
And the other one is, who's your favourite wrestler of all time? Your favourite, if you had to sit down and be like, I could watch this guy or woman every day, like just work, who would be your favourite one?
Randy Orton, hands down. Yeah.
I used to like Randy Orton when I was younger, but I'm just not a big fan of him. Like, I think he's great in the ring, but I'm just like,
I think people either think he is the greatest of all time, or they're just like, he does nothing for me. And I am the person who is like, he is the greatest thing to walk the earth.
I think a lot of women that I know that don't really watch wrestling, last year when we went into the like lockdown, WrestleMania was still going on, so they tuned into it, and it was just, they were like, "Oh, Randy Orton's like such a good looking guy for being older," and I'm like, that guy's got such good appeal. Like, he's just good for business because it gets the normal fan to look at it as well. But for me, it doesn't work. I'm more of like a AJ Styles kind of style person. Like, I like watching that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if I was, for me to pick like a favourite wrestler, it would have to be Sting, because he's the guy who got me into it when I was younger. I remember watching him and being like, that's a wrestler. I need to find out more about this guy.
Yeah.
So obviously you've been saying you're active over the past kind of year with COVID. How have you been finding being active in the ring with COVID? Is it like weird that you get to still be near people when everybody has to stay away from everybody?
Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm in this kind of like weird fever dream where my life is still pretty normal. And like, I just don't have to go to my office every day. I just work from home now. And I kind of just like come and go as I please and do like whatever I want. Which is, I don't know, it's probably not like the best thing to do, but it's what I've been doing. Like, obviously, like, wear my mask and, you know, follow all like safety guidelines, but yeah, I just feel like, you know, I've still plus all of my friends and all of the people I would like spend time with are wrestlers. So I would say like the first 3 months was kind of a shock because like that was like our shutdown. But when training started to like open again and it was summer here and like restaurants were open with guidelines and stuff, life still felt like pretty normal, except like I wasn't wrestling in front of like every single weekend. So that was weird. And then like you do like the studio tapings, which are fun, don't get me wrong, but it's still like kind of weird to like not have fans there. But honestly, I feel like if I did a show in front of fans now, I would be like, what is this? Like, I mean, I did the collective in Indiana and there were fans and it was like, and it was so weird. It was like the first time I wrestled in front of fans in so long. I was like, this is bizarre. Like, I'm used to just like wrestling in front of like a small room of other wrestlers. Um, so yeah, I feel like when things go back to normal, like I'll be weirded out. But right now I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, this is cool.
I've always kind of, so for me, running my own business, it's always kind of been done from home anyway. So when everybody got to come home and work, I was like, oh, this is great. You all get to experience what I've got. And then now I'm like, right, guys, you want to start to get back to your office so then I can go to the shop and go out because it's quieter during the day when everybody's at work. Is when I would normally maybe go to a coffee shop, grab some coffee with like my laptop and do work and stuff like that. But everybody's kind of, obviously we have to stay inside still, but I'm like, gonna just everybody get back to work. And I could only imagine, like, if you're wrestling, no fans there, it's the first bit, it must have been really awkward, then you got used to it, and then now it's like, oh, fans might start coming back and you're like, oh, do they need to? And like, what, how are we going to interact with fans again? Like, you need to try and learn like that part of the business again, because people have got so used to just
Yeah, like I was even saying, like, right, honestly, right now with like stories and things, because the audience, like, they know how to react instead of a genuine reaction from like a live crowd. It's like we're like forcing them to go along with how we want the story to go.
Yeah.
because they know how they're supposed to react. And it's like, oh my God, like when live crowds are back, like what if they just revolt against everything that we've been doing in like the past year?
Just every single person that comes out, storylines, everything, just boo. Like,
Yeah.
just turning their back, leaving, just not like.
Yeah,
Not...
I'm like, oh my God, what if they're, I don't know, like this is gonna be weird. It's gonna be so weird.
The other thing is, a lot of people that I know that are in business are so scared, like they open back up and nobody comes back, like because people are being so used to like just being at home and doing their own kind of time frame. What
Yeah.
about if people just decide, okay, I'm just not going to go back. I can get this on TV, or I can just order this to my house. Why do I need to go to a show and pay extra for it when I can just wait for it? And I think a lot of people are really like in the events industry are so worried about people just being like, I'm not going to go out. I'm just going to.
Yeah.
I'll just catch you on YouTube, or I'll get it on Twitch or
Right.
something later
Right.
on. Because as well, I think everything's become so much easier to access. Like with you've got Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon, Twitch, YouTube. There's a never-ending amount of content. So I think a lot of people will be like, I don't really need to go out now. I've got all this content in the house to check out.
Yeah, exactly. And then I feel like there are like a desperate few who are like dying to get out. So they would be like first in line, but there'd be like 5 people.
Just the 5 noisiest people ever, and then there's like nobody else there.
Yeah. You just pray that they were noisy. Oh my gosh.
I'm one of those people that like I'll go out when everything's back to normal once the vaccines are out and stuff like that, and then I'll be like a couple of days and I'll be like, so I'm just going to go back. I'm
Yeah.
done. You know what I mean? Like this is not as good as what I remember. But it'll be cool to get back to wrestling events as well for me with a channel and stuff like that to go kind of see what's kind of happening in the wrestling world to make more content. But like, I don't even know how the logistics of it are going to work. Like, one of those things that it's like when you first need to go somewhere yourself, it's like, how do I act? Like, I'm normally in my pajamas in the house watching this. How do I act? I like,
I know, right?
lounge around. What do I do? So, kind of finishing off with a finish off question. Anybody who wants to, well, a couple of them, anybody who wants to get into wrestling, what would you recommend them to do?
Definitely find a reputable school. That is the most important first step. A reputable school, good training. And it's going to be the hardest thing you ever do. Get through the first 2 weeks, you're golden. 2 weeks of the first 2 weeks are the worst. But finding a school and then getting through those first 2 weeks, good to go.
No, I would agree 100%. My first 3 weeks of being at wrestling training were like hell. Like I just remember just having to do lots of running and burpees and bumps and just like actual chain wrestling and like just it was just hell. Like it was just
Yeah.
hours, 8 hours of, and just disgusting like bad hellness. Like you're like, why am I paying for this?
Yeah. I was like, after my second day, I was like, I'm not going back. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to be that girl who quits after 2 classes. And here we are 8 years later. Not going to be the girl who quits after 2 classes.
You don't want to be that person that like drops out. My first time at wrestling training, there was 16 people that turned up. And it was on like a Sunday in the middle of nowhere, and I think it was me and my friend who went were the only 2 people left by the end of the day because it was just to scare people away. So it was like lots of running, burpees. It was just disgusting. I think I was sick like 4 times. And
Oh my gosh.
but obviously, times have advanced. That was back in like 2008, 2006. Like I think I was like 15 or something. I can't remember the
Yeah.
exact age, but times have advanced. Like things now are like more professional and stuff.
Yes. Yes. They'll still try and break you, but in a still we still want to run a business kind of way.
Yeah. And where can people check you out? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Davienne __. I do have a Facebook like page that's at Not America's Sweetheart. There is an imposter page right now that I'm trying to get taken down. That's also named Davienne. It only has like 20 likes, but mine has over 2,000. So like that's the right page. Don't like the other one. They'll message you and ask for money. That's been my life for the past couple weeks. And also Pro Wrestling Tees store. Just search Davienne. That's everywhere you can find me.
Yeah, I'll get all those links in the description below. So
Awesome.
if people want to go check out your merch or whatever, they can get it there. Obviously, I'll make sure I put the correct Facebook one in as well.
Yes.
And if you just wait there 2 minutes, I'm going to end the cast and I'll talk to you for a little bit after it.
Yeah, sure.